headphones aren't even on yet.
I had to record the bottle opening.
The bottle opening to start the podcast. The bottle opening by the Hot Wheels car bottle opener. Mm-hmm. Wish I had to hand to me.
Pass it over to you. Good to see my voice is recovering.
Yeah, still 4 weeks later.
Yeah.
I think we're going to check you into the hospital.
Well, I got sick again. So.
Spent too much time on the beach in the Bahamas last week?
Yeah.
Or too much drinking in the Bahamas? Or too much bad food in the Bahamas?
Probably.
Or too many shitty people in the Bahamas?
Yeah.
Or a combination of all of the above?
Yeah. But anyway, I did watch on the flight home, because it's JetBlue, I got to watch the Daytona 500.
Excellent.
Which was interesting.
You probably flew over it while it was happening.
Probably.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And we have and quick disclosure, we were NASCAR fans in the 90s, like the early 90s, and it kind of fell out.
The late 90s.
Yeah, mid to late 90s.
I have a bunch of 1998 stuff, like 50th anniversary stuff.
Was that 98 really?
Yeah.
I guess that's the end. Yeah,
totally
so
was.
Maybe late 90s. So up through like high school years, I kind of followed and watched NASCAR. And it kind of fell out of favor with us. There were a lot of rule changes, a lot of driver changes.
I think it was like with the Car of Tomorrow stuff.
Now, that wasn't even until like a couple of years ago. I think what it was is we just got more involved in the rally stuff.
Yeah,
probably. And we're like, oh, this is way cooler than NASCAR, so forget NASCAR. But the past couple of years, I've started watching a few races again, here and there. Nothing like serious fan-wise, but I'm going to try to watch a few more this year, I think, because there was some pretty entertaining racing at Daytona.
The road courses have been good.
I always watch road course racing because that's exciting to me.
The Xfinity Series, which used to be the Busch Series, so it's like the second tier.
Yeah.
That was the one at Mid-Ohio during the rain.
Oh, that was a crash fest.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't awesome because of the crash fest. It was just more awesome because it was like they had no idea what they were doing.
But they weren't like crashing a lot. You weren't like
little spins here.
You weren't watching it. Yeah, you weren't watching it because they were crashing. You were watching it because they were like.
It was like drift fest.
Yeah, they'd get going really good. Then the rain would hit, and everybody would get like way sideways, and the leader would just spin off, and like somebody else would take the lead.
Yeah, fourth place eventually to win in first place, and then he'd spin off, and then by the time they cycled through, I think everybody was in the front of that race.
Yeah,
that was last year, right?
Yeah, it was last summer. Yeah. That was.
But anyway, I watched the Daytona 500 as well.
Yeah,
I watched probably the last 2/3 of it.
See, it's funny. The plane actually landed because the coverage started like when my flight took off, and then the race didn't start till like halfway through my flight. And
oh, really?
As we landed, the first stage,
which is
ended.
Weird. I was talking actually to my father about that because he was complaining about the stages, and I was talking to how I think it's not a bad thing.
I thought they were going to pull the cars off the track, but they don't.
They just keep running.
They just roll them to. They just slow them down and group them back together.
Yeah. Now, it's not completely unheard of for a NASCAR-style race to do that. Because you look at some of the other NASCAR-style, and it's not NASCAR-style car, but the same, I guess, fan base. Like sprint cars have always run heats.
Yeah.
A lot of the Saturday night stock car racing runs heats. So a lot of these guys, the stuff they started with, ran with heats. They ran this, A heat, B heat, A main, B main, and then a final huge main race at the end of the night. So it's not unheard of for a NASCAR-style event to run separate heats or stages or whatever. And it's going to be a different way they're going to figure out points. I don't see any other reason for it other than to bunch the cars back up to get the racing exciting again.
Yeah, but the incentive is that you get more points if you're leading at the end of it.
Yeah, if you lead a stage, you get more points than if you just lead a lap.
Basically, just want the guys racing
all the time.
And not just the last 25 laps.
Well, I think NASCAR has been marred by a few things the past few years as far as fan base goes.
Yeah.
There's been some people have kind of gone away from it, and I think they're just trying new things to bring fans back. Yeah. And like I said, I haven't watched for a long time, and I watched.
Because even like actual endurance racing, the Rolex 24 was exciting for the entire race because they've done such a good job at trying to get cars to be close.
Correct. And NASCAR is all about the cars being evenly matched because all the cars fit the same template.
Yeah.
Even though they're Fords, Chevys, and Toyotas,
they make a big deal about manufacturers. You're like, is it really?
Yeah, they're really not. They have slightly different designs in the front bumper. Maybe.
Aren't they all small block Chevys?
Yeah, I think so. This is standard motor right across the board. But actually, the cars look a little different this year. They have a little more curve to them.
Yeah.
They're not just a slab side. They have some.
It's like fenders.
Yeah, you can kind of see the fender and the quarter panel.
And then I like that now that Jeff Gordon has retired, because Darrell Waltrip's been commentating for a while, at least on the Fox broadcast.
And Michael Waltrip's been in and out of the commentating booth too. He raced again.
Yeah, I think this year is going to be his last year, though. It sounds like he's retiring, or at least this was his last 500.
Yeah, he's been retired and not retired.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that has made it better, at least having retired drivers.
Rather than just a commentator.
Yeah.
Because they have a little more insight into what's going on.
Yeah.
But like you said, DW has been doing it forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember back in the boogity 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 thing started back in the 90s when he started doing it there. So, and there's always been guests have always come in. And,
I got a real fast hot rod today.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely a good old boy, there's no question.
Yeah. The best is the video of him at Bathurst.
Oh, he's riding
passenger. They put him in the car. Yeah.
He can't really handle it. Yeah, it was pretty good. Bathurst obviously is the famous track in Australia with a lot of elevation change and a lot of tight corners, and not like tight like a tight turn, but tight like walls on both sides of the turns.
Yeah. They put him in an Australian touring car.
Yeah, it was a
supercar, Super V8. That's what it was.
It was cool.
V8 supercar.
He's like, this thing shouldn't be going so fast.
No.
But anyway, going back to the race, it was an interesting race. There was a lot of crashing, which isn't good. Some people that watch 4 crashes. I'd rather watch close racing.
Super speedway. That's always
going to be that, and the restrictor plates, I guess. But once they stopped crashing, the last 30 laps of the race were pretty damn good. And you didn't know who was going to win until the last lap.
And then it's interesting they have the new rules with the body damage rules.
Go behind the wall, you're done for the day.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. That's kind of the way I think it should be, rather than have a back marker out there who's 45 laps down or 100 laps down and just kind of tying up traffic.
Yeah.
I think that's good. And actually what I was surprised about, and we kind of talked about it during the race, we were kind of talking back and forth over the Google chat, was the car that was in second place for the last 4 or 5 laps.
Truex, I think.
Yeah, Martin Truex.
Yeah.
The whole nose of the car was ripped off the car.
Well, at least the right front fender.
Yet the way the slipstream was working, he was still able to keep up with traffic.
Yeah, he was in second.
Right.
But as soon as he lost the draft,
he's done.
He fell out.
He fell behind 10 spots.
Yeah, because he just did not have any aerodynamic advantage.
It was cool to me to see that the way the arrow runs over the top of the cars, it didn't affect the right front corner of the car was ripped off the car. That was kind of interesting. But congratulations, obviously, to Kurt Busch for winning the race. You can say that, not that he ever would hear that, but hey, congratulations anyway. It was a very interesting finish, and the only reason he finished first is because who was in front of him that ran out of gas? I'm terrible at NASCAR names because there's 43 of them on the track at a time.
I forget now.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if they ran out of gas or they got out of the slipstream. Or
No, I think he ran out of gas. They were talking about gas, and then he just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe we're wrong. Life goes on. But it was a very interesting race to watch. It was a very good finish, and it got me excited for NASCAR again this year.
Mm-hmm.
So give it a chance. Maybe give it a watch, or don't. But I enjoyed it.
So, any project car updates for you, or?
Well, I mean, we had a wonderful, wonderful week this week working on that Honda Accord.
Yes. That is a quirky car,
to say the least.
It is not. It is a far departure from the, I guess, B series engine cars,
or any Honda made in like the late '80s till now.
Yeah, because they're all pretty much they were all the same up to like 2000.
Yeah, they all fit a common theme, and they all interchange parts, and you could do anything on the car you could do in an hour.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a good Honda mechanic, you could probably have the motor in another car in an hour.
Yeah, actually, I had a guy, when I was younger, when I had my Civic Si, when I worked at a dealership, the guy came from a Honda dealership, and I needed a clutch. He's like, oh, I'll do it. I gave him like $20, and he did it in like an hour.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, he was like, whatever, you're cool, so I just did it. You don't have to pay me that much. I was like, all right, cool.
Awesome. It's not a $1,000 job at the Honda dealer now. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know how much of our audience has ever worked on a first-generation Accord with the big CVCC motor, the 1.8 versus the 1.4. Mm-hmm. I don't know how different that motor is. But the belts wrap around the motor mount. Not the timing belt, the drive belts. The drive belts.
The packaging is very tight in that car.
Wrap around the motor mount.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And then, not only do the belts run around the motor mount, but everything is so close. Like the car wasn't designed originally for America, so they had to add power steering and air conditioning for the American market, I guess maybe.
Yeah.
Because in order to get the power steering belt on the car, you have to push the power steering pump all the way forward, and it interferes with the water pump pulley, and you can't do it while the belt's on the water pump pulley because there's not enough room. And then in order to get the belt on the power steering pulley, we actually had to jack the motor up and crank it over with like a big
It's a 3-foot pry bar.
a big 3-foot pry bar to get enough space between the pulley and the frame rail to get the belt to slip past the bolt on the pulley.
Yeah, enough space is like a few millimeters.
But millimeters. The belt is only a quarter of an inch wide, and there wasn't enough room to fit it.
Oh, it was all V-belts.
Yeah. So that was an interesting process. A job that I would think would take an hour on a bad day wound up taking about 6 hours total. And again, it wasn't all working on it. A lot of that was trying to figure out what the hell to do to make it work. And it would take less time now, but it still wouldn't be a hour job like a set of belts should be. I mean, a set of belts should never be an hour. It should be 10 to 30 minutes to do drive belts, especially V-belts. We're not talking about a serpentine belt that has complicated routing or anything. We're talking about 3 separate belts that are all less than a foot.
Oh, and then it's almost like the alternator was optional because
it's backwards.
It's mounted backwards,
Yeah.
facing away from the cam.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like you could have just had, it could have been like a cam-driven alternator, but it's not.
That's so strange.
Like the bracket hangs it off towards the fender. It's really weird.
And that bracket, of course, is part of bolts to the motor mount as well.
Yeah, and then bolts on 2 sides to the head.
Right.
And the block.
So when you reposition the bracket, because it has to bolt 2 bolts into the motor mount and 2 bolts into the block, it took 2 of us because one person had to be below the car, jacking up and lowering the motor until we got all of the holes to line up between the holes in the block and the holes on the motor mount.
Yeah, it's basically like it was this like 5-pound brace
chunk of iron.
Yeah, I don't know if it's part of just. I don't know if it makes the engine a stressed member or something. Somehow it's very weird.
I don't know why it's set up the way it's set up, but it's a very hateful car, and everything I tried to do to it turned into a nightmare.
Even the oil filter, the change was.
Yeah, well, again, that was caused by the air conditioning, which might not have been there by design originally.
No, it was running on top of the oil filter.
The hard lines, and there were hard lines went into rubber lines, but they went right over the top of the oil filter, and you had just enough room to sneak it past, but not enough room to put a filter wrench on it.
No.
So, wonderful, wonderful car. It is a good car. Everything else seems fine. Like I was looking at like the gas tank and the brakes, and everything else is normal.
It's like they were really copying European cars.
They were like, "What cars suck to work on? Oh, European cars. Let's give those to the Americans."
But it's well built.
It's a very well built car. I mean, the car's in 1979, and everything's nice and tight and solid, and the car doesn't rattle, and it's a great car. It's just don't ever volunteer to do drive belts on a first generation Accord without knowing what you're getting into. And that's kind of what I did, because it's a car that I sold, and I told the customer, asked if I could change all the belts and do a tune-up.
No, maybe he knew.
I don't know, maybe he did know, but I was like, yeah, not a problem at all. I'll take care of all that for you. If we go for asking price, I'll just do everything. And unfortunately, I had to do everything. So, regardless, moving on.
Whatever, it's done now.
Did you do anything this week other than help me the last day on the car?
No.
No project cars?
Did you get the Colt set?
I got it home, yeah. Oh, yes. Other project cars. My 1980 Colt hasn't driven in probably since November or October. Just because it's been wintertime, it's been sitting, it got covered in snow, and then it just got left there, and I didn't do anything with it. I had that Honda Accord that we were just talking about was inside my trailer, which was attached to the back of my truck. So I was like, oh, I don't feel like detaching the trailer to go out and run some errands. I'll just take the Colt out because the snow's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I made it to the restaurant with my daughter, and I was going to bring dinner to my wife, who was working a double in the next town over because she's a nurse. So I was like, oh, no big deal. Go get dinner for me and the daughter. I'll get a dish for the wife. I'll bring it over to her. She'll be happy. She wasn't expecting it. It'll be a nice surprise. And I broke down on the side of the road on the way there.
Of course.
No good deeds, right? Tell the guy who do belts, falls apart in my face.
Yep.
Go try to surprise my wife with dinner. Falls apart in my face. So I live in a small town. Thankfully, the car broke down right in front of the next sub shop in town. So my daughter's 13, and it was like, do you want to walk home with me to get the truck? Or do you want to sit here? It's right in front of a restaurant. It's only 5:30. You'll be okay down here. You can keep the phone. You can play games on the phone. Or you can walk home with me. And she's like, I really want to sit right here. And I was like, all right. Well, if anything happens, just go in the restaurant. Okay, that's fine. So I left the car on the side of the road in front of the restaurant. I would never have done this if it wasn't like right downtown where I live, in front of the restaurant. Everything was nice and well lit. And I live a 5-minute walk away. So I ran home, and I got the truck and trailer, and I drove down to the car was broken down, picked up my daughter and the dinner, drove all the way to the next town over, navigated my wife's work's parking lot with this behemoth of a 20-foot trailer and a pickup truck, just to grab her dinner because I didn't want to get cold because I spent the money this time, and I want to give her the dinner. She was excited to see it. I told her the story, and she was laughing at me because it's what she does, because she knows I'm a dummy. And then drove the trailer and truck home. Decided I should probably go look at the car because I know it's a no overnight parking zone. I don't want it to get towed and be a whole other issue. I managed to get it started. What was happening was the car was sputtering and stumbling, and once it warmed up, I could get it to idle, and I could rev it all the way from 800 to 4,000, and it seemed fine. The second I put it in gear, it would die. I don't know why. I haven't investigated. Once it cooled off, I got back down, I started it, and I drove it a block away. There's like a park and ride downtown that has overnight parking. I was like, all right, I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to park it right here. Because I had driven the truck again now with the big trailer back downtown and parked it behind the car. Got in the car, drove it, put it in the park and ride. So I'll deal with it in the morning. Walked back to my truck and drove home. So I went down this morning after my wife got home from her shift. And she drove me downtown. I got in the car. She followed me home, made it home. Parked it, put it in the little tank garage next to the house, and I said, I'm done. I don't even want to touch it till it's warm out. So
who knows?
I'm not going to touch it. I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know why it's doing that. It has all new ignition components from plugs, wires, cap, rotor. Even though it's 1980, it still has ignition points. I even replaced the points, capped the points.
Is there enough fluid in the transmission?
What would that have to do with anything?
The torque converter didn't have enough fluid, and it just wasn't.
But I was driving the car and then it just stopped.
I don't know.
I'll check it, but that's
automatic transmissions work on magic, anyways.
They are. And that one is a terrible automatic transmission, but I'm sure it's not low on fluid. That's the one thing the car wasn't doing wrong was shifting wrong. It shifted fine, and I drove it all around town, and I didn't have any issues, and I couldn't tell you what the problem was yet. I haven't even looked. I was frustrated with it, and it's not warm enough out yet to worry about it. I put it away. It's out of sight, out of mind, and I'll worry about it later. And if somebody wants to buy it, please come buy it. I don't even care anymore. You can almost have it for free at this point. Just get it out of my life. I don't want to fix it now.
All right.
So, but it's there. I'll get to it, and I'll fall back in love with it once it's fixed, and life will go on. But yeah, that's it. No other project car updates other than that. I don't think I've worked on anything else.
Yeah, I haven't worked on anything.
Exciting news! I am going this weekend with a friend to pick up a Mark I Escort.
Nice.
So that should be fun.
The only thing I worked on was small scale stuff.
And my Honda.
So I started the RX-7 kit.
First gen SA.
Yep.
Being
the monogram one. We talked about that last time. So I had it all sanded, but in between podcasts here, I have primed it. Which the first time I used Zero Paint's primer. I usually use two-part. No, it's a single stage primer.
Enamel or
it's the lacquer. It's a
lacquer.
Yeah, it's synthetic. It's the same as it's supposed to be.
Tamayo.
There's supposed to be like a version of Zero Paints are supposed to be like a version of Tamiya stuff. It's behind you.
Oh.
That's it. And the it's weird because I used on the Evo, I used Tamiya primer that I had, and then I put Zero Paints over it because they're supposed to work that way. But I decided to use the Zero Paints primer in the airbrush, and I did like a light coat. Found a mold line, couple mold lines I missed, sanded them down. Went to recoat it. It started to like pull from edges.
Yeah, it looks like a fault line across the middle of the hood.
Yeah, it was weird because I thought I laid it on thin enough coats to not do that, but maybe I just did it too thick and it like pulled from edges. So I could resand the hood, but the body where it pulled, I was like, it's not that bad. It was in like seams where it pulled.
Yeah, I saw like around the edge under the hood. And
So I said, screw it, and I just put the paint color on it. And I think it looks pretty good. It's got a light coat of the first color.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's like a burnt orange.
Yeah, it's like a burnt orange, and then
which is actually cool because it's kind of like it's the same color as the 79 RX-7 the real one that my father used to have.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is just do some more light coats of that, and it should darken up a little bit, but not by much.
Yeah, it should look pretty good. And
Yeah.
nice clear coat over it. It should be real nice.
So that's it for that. You have anything else, right?
I've worked on a couple of small scale projects. I have a couple of Revell, one monogram, one Revell, which is depending on what time you're talking about. They're the same company.
Yeah. That
Porsche 904 kit. Yes, Porsche 904 kit. I apologize.
Oh yeah, Porsche. Sorry.
No, you said it. I didn't say it. I said Porsche.
Oh.
I said it like a plebe.
Well, see, I had to learn because the company I worked for.
Yeah, the Porsche 904 kit. Yeah. I have two of them.
Porsche.
Yeah. And I took them out of the box because I noticed in the box they had different wheels. And I was like, oh, I want to build this one. I was like, but the wheels in that one are cooler looking. And one of them is an original release of a 1965 kit. It's designed to be either a shelf model or designed to be a 1/24th scale slot car. So the body is a very simple body. It's a very simple chassis. But it looks really complete. It's a really nice looking kit. But the wheels and tires, they're from 1965. And they just don't look very good.
Of course.
So I was like, oh, this other one has better looking wheels and tires on it. Let me pull it out and see what those look like. It's a completely different kit from the same manufacturer.
Yeah, it is weird.
I had no idea. And this whole time, I thought that it was just a repackaged version of the original kit. And it was going to be the same thing. But the original kit doesn't have engine detail, doesn't have like really good chassis detail.
Yep.
And the other one that I had it's got a full engine, full interior, full cage. It's a really nice kit, which explains why the wheels are different. But I was shocked. So I'm still going to keep, because I already started working on the 65 kit. So I'm going to continue to work on that. Maybe try to find a different set of wheels somewhere for that. I have some Fujimi nice open steel wheels for it that'll maybe try to run some of those. I don't know yet. We'll see.
And you're thinning some of your kit herd.
I am. I got a bunch of kits going on eBay. Again, not trying to promote things I'm selling on the podcast, but
well, if you're interested in some like vintage kits,
old weird vintage kits, I'm putting a bunch of stuff out there.
Yeah, so. Just ones that you'll never get to that somebody else should enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I have stacks and stacks and stacks of ridiculous stuff in my basement, so it's time to get rid of it. So I'll put a link up somewhere. You can find it. I'm not going to discuss where to find those, but yeah, thinning out the herd. That way, I can kind of like maybe concentrate on the ones that I want to concentrate on. Because kind of one of my things is I go down in the basement and I'm overwhelmed looking through stacks of kits to find what I want to build next.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be able to kind of reorganize and maybe even clear out enough space to actually make a work area in the basement versus just a storage area.
When is that local model show? Is that March 19th?
I want to talk to you about that. It is in March, and I think it's the 19th. It's pretty soon.
I think you showed me the 19th.
I can actually check right now.
Which it's not Mass Car Club.
Mass Car Club no longer does it. It's run by a member of the Mass Car Club who's just doing it as his own. It's called the RTS show.
Yeah.
I don't remember, RTS Expo Club. It's not a full show with individual categories, with prizes like it used to be.
Okay.
It's more of like the NNL style.
So they're doing multiple, like different.
The categories will still be there.
But they didn't have like military and like ships.
They'll have that stuff
to get more people.
Corner. Oh. But it's not like, so say you have a class for model cars and you have let's see, race cars open wheel, race cars closed wheel.
Yeah.
And you have like street machines and you have street rods. You'll still have all those classes, but there won't be a first, second, third in each class.
Just a first?
Not even that. It'll just be like a best paint and best detail and a best theme. So no individual category awards. It's more of like just a gathering and so it's a little simpler of a format.
Okay. And they have a pretty good swap meet usually.
And I'm more interested in the swap meet.
Yeah.
But I do see it is March 19th in Taunton, Massachusetts.
Yep.
It's the holiday.
It's a Sunday.
It is a Sunday. It's actually the same day as the next Cars and Coffee. But I'll have to miss that this time, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, we'll go check that out, and
Yeah, I mean, we used to go all the time, so
hopefully maybe I'll have the RX-7 done. Maybe.
hopefully, yeah. So Sunday, March
Or
19th,
something new done.
2017, 495 in Taunton at the Holiday Inn. Doors open at 9 a.m. So it does cost to get in. It's like $8, but I mean, they got to pay the bill for the room somehow, so I don't mind that.
No, it's worth it.
Yeah. So yeah, there's special voting awards for what I said, and then there's best station wagon, best Camaro because it's the 50th anniversary this year, best vintage drag racing, best junior build, and then there's going to be club awards by a couple of different regional clubs that are going to be there. Also, what's kind of cool this year they're going to have there is they're going to have, you know how like Boy Scouts do the downhill
Pinewood Derbies?
Yeah. There's going to be a 1/64th scale die-cast downhill drag racing.
So your Hot Wheels that you've filled with molten lead?
Yes. Now there's rules for that too. Apparently there's a club in Rhode Island called the
maximum weight?
I don't know. I don't know the rules. I have to look it up. But it's called the Lincoln Johnny Lightning Club. And they started as a group of, I guess, Johnny Lightning diecast collectors.
Okay.
But they have a monthly meeting where they have diecast drag races.
Okay.
Which is like super end of the nerdy scale. And I've never gone. I don't know much about it. But I think it'll be interesting to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's adults, not children. So maybe it's a combination of both. I don't know. But I think it'll be kind of cool to see it. So it's just a little extra thing that'll be there.
All right. Cool.
So yeah, March 19th, model car show. That's not a real car show. That's model cars.
Yes. Scale cars.
Scale cars that you have built yourself.
Yes.
So that should be fun.
So anyway, let's get to what I want to talk about this week.
Today's actual topic.
Have you ever wondered why some countries drive on the left and some drive on the right?
Why, yes, Andrew, I have. Do you have an explanation for me?
Hopefully I do.
All right. How did you come upon this topic?
Well, I took a vacation with my fiance last week to the Bahamas. And
not quite America, not America.
No.
Yeah.
So we had to
Does
take
that require a passport now?
Yes.
Okay.
It is a foreign country.
Okay, I don't know how it works. Listen.
Anytime you go to a country that's not the United States,
You can almost swim there from Florida, all right? I don't know.
You could, but you still need a passport when you show up. But they're very laid back. They're like, yeah, you're all
passport. All right. What are you gonna do? Bomb the Bahamas? I mean, come on. You don't need a passport. You're fine.
No. So anyway, we fly in, get to the airport, and you got to take a taxi to get to the resort.
You went to Nassau, not the main
island. To Nassau.
Right?
Yep. Which is actually the capital. It's the smallest island, but it's the capital.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
It is kind of weird. But so first thing we do, we land. We're rolling up to the gate, and I look out, and there's a Mitsubishi van with Japanese writing on the side.
Like a Delica style van.
Delica style van. Yeah.
Awesome.
With a right-hand drive steering wheel. I was like, oh, yeah, they're driving the other side here.
Awesome.
And then we get outside.
But it had Japanese writing on it?
Yeah.
So it's probably a fresh import.
Probably.
And it was used at the airport. That's really cool.
Yeah. They probably just import whatever they want.
Yeah, I'm super excited to go to other countries like that, to see things like that. Like, even when I went to Canada, I was like, I want to see as many weird cars as I can.
Yeah, every time I saw an American car, I was like, eh.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so then that way, so we get out of the airport, we get through customs and everything. So they're like, do you need a taxi? Like, yes. So, everybody's very, very nice because they want you
They want your money.
Pay them, yeah.
Like good green American money?
Yeah. Which is it's the same exchange as Bahamian dollars. So.
Which is convenient.
Yes, they've clearly done it
yes.
for convenience. So we get out there, and there's all these just random cars for taxis, but they're all like vans. There's like an Astro van. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, terrible Astro.
And like a Ford E-van or whatever the hell it is. Econoline. And then this guy, she sends us to this taxi driver, and we're like walking down the line, and we're like going past an Astro van. I was like, please don't get in that. And then we're going to go past like a Ford van. I'm like, please don't get in that. And then right behind it was like an L300 Mitsubishi van.
So another Delica style.
I was like, yes, that's awesome. His van.
Yep, sweet.
So excited to ride this stupid old van.
It was meant to be.
So it was like a diesel 5-speed rear-wheel drive.
It was about a 4D56 diesel probably.
Left-hand drive.
Not right-hand drive.
Not right-hand drive.
So the one at the airport was right-hand drive, and your taxi was left-hand drive.
Yeah.
Now, what side of the road did they drive on?
Left.
So they drive on the opposite side as us.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was really weird. He's like, so, we drive on the other side. We're like, yeah, we figured that out real quick.
Yeah. Good thing we're not driving.
Yeah, because you totally drive the wrong way. Like,
especially if you got in a rental car
and it
you
wasn't
left-hand
right-hand drive.
Left-hand drive rental car.
Yeah.
And you pulled out into the street and there's no traffic, I would definitely get in the wrong side of the road.
Yeah. So, and they're all rotaries there. So we're going the wrong way around. Well, not the wrong way. We're going the opposite way around a rotary. It's really bizarre.
It's hard.
It's so weird.
I dealt with that in Canada when I was in. Well, no, sorry. I wasn't. When I was in Canada coming home, they drive on the correct side of the road, or the same side of the road as us, but I was driving the right-hand drive vehicle, and that was bizarre enough.
Yeah.
So I'm sure for that guy in the Bahamas,
maybe just get used to it.
Nah, maybe, but.
But it's weird because they have right-hand drive vehicles too. So you're just sitting there, and there's like a bunch of right-hand drive CRVs,
right?
Like the first gens.
Yep.
You like look over.
Yeah, that cool mirror on the fender.
Yeah,
and the mirror,
the mirror on the back,
yep.
And you just look over, and the driver's like way opposite of
He's
you,
100 miles away from you.
It's so strange.
That is weird. I wonder what the Bahamian import laws are, or if there are any at all.
Probably not.
Or it's just like all those cars were stolen from different countries and wind up there somehow, like in a lot of the South American countries.
Nah, they just what they are is they buy all the cheap auction cars here.
Yep.
And that's where they go.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Nobody wants them.
Yeah, the Econoline with 400,000 miles on it.
Probably.
Nobody wants.
Yeah, it's on an island. It has 400,000 miles on it. It's an island that's 21 miles long.
Taxi, it's only going to get another 10,000 miles on it anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, that made me wonder. I was like, where did this driving on one side or the other come from? And
what country had the first car? Why did they do it this way?
Yeah, well, you might think it comes from the invention of the car, but it's older than that.
Okay.
So the accepted theory I ran across in researching this comes down to right-handedness.
So we're wrong.
Yes.
We're right. They're wrong.
Sort of.
Wait. I'm a lefty.
Yeah. In fact, this podcast is split 50-50.
Right.
So Brad is lefty and I'm a righty. And, scientists still don't know why some people favor right over left. Like, that's still a thing. They don't really know.
The common accepted theory among lefties is that some of us are just far more superior than others.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I mean, maybe, I don't know, whatever. It's just kind of weird, right? That but the majority of the population is right-handed, not lefty. So
correct.
So basically the theory is because of this, with most of the population always being right-handed, as people began to build roads between villages, towns, and cities, and then humans started to use horses to travel between them, it was common practice. You'd mount a horse. And I didn't really think of this until I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. If you're right-handed, it's way easier to mount a horse from the left side of the horse because you throw your right leg over it.
I don't know if that it's easier or not
because you're a lefty. You'd want to do it the other way.
I don't know that I would because I think about like a bicycle or a motorcycle. I don't do that.
Because they're designed for right-handed people because the kickstands are always on the left. They lean to the left.
I've just been forced to do it wrong my whole life?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
I don't accept this.
Nope.
Because they make left and right-handed guitars.
Yeah, but that's because it's easier to you're not getting on them.
No, but like I've held a left-handed guitar and it feels awkward to me.
You could didn't one of the was it like McCartney or something? Didn't he play one upside down or something?
I don't know, but like my wife has a guitar and I
Yeah.
can pick it up and she's a righty and I can pick it up and like it feels correct to have
I feel like it would
a
be
fret in my left hand.
I feel like it would be easier for me to
right.
play a left-handed
No, I don't
guitar.
Maybe now I'm confused.
Because
maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know anything about playing guitar, but the times I've tried, my left hand is not very good. I don't have a good dexterity with it, so working the frets is really
guitar,
hard.
You do the fret with your left hand.
Yeah.
Which to me makes sense because I'm a lefty.
Yeah,
I think it'd be awkward trying to do it the other way.
Exactly. So I feel like I would play a left-handed guitar because I can just move my left hand, and then I can work the frets with my right hand, which I have better dexterity with.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we're off topic because now we're talking about guitars.
Yeah. But anyway, so supposedly it was easier to get on a horse from the left.
Okay.
So you would get on the horse from the left and then ride down the left side of the road. And
right side of the road.
The left side of the road. Because a lot of times you'd have, for like women wearing dresses or something, you'd have steps on the left side of the road to get on a horse or just to help people get on a horse. They'd be on the left side of the road.
Okay.
So that's I don't know.
That's where it came from.
Supposedly, yeah.
So why do we here in the United States and Canada drive on the right-hand side of the road from the left-hand side of the car?
Well, the other thing with riding on the left, and this explains maybe why England does it. Supposedly, it presents your right arm, if you're dominant with your right arm, to oncoming travelers. So you can reach for your weapon that is holstered on your left, which is usually a sword. You if you're right, you holster it on your left.
So I'm also, not only as a lefty, now am I awkward in general social gatherings, I'm also going to die first in a duel.
Possibly.
Yes. Wonderful.
Although, if you're pitching to a right-handed batter...
I have an advantage as a pitcher if I could pitch a baseball.
Yes.
I'm just screwed in general, I guess, huh?
So, that's sort of where it started.
Okay.
And then
so the American laws were decided by a lefty, apparently.
Yeah.
Because he was like, F this England crap, we just want to be different.
I mean, but generally, though, back then, traffic was so light that it was just like...
it was horses.
Yeah, it just came down to
15 miles an
local
hour.
tradition. I mean, some people may have ridden on the right, some people may have ridden on the left. Now, the other theory is that in the late 1700s and early 1800s, as larger wagons were created to carry more goods
Okay.
between towns and markets and ports and whatever.
So the 18-wheelers are wagons.
Exactly.
All right.
Multiple trains of horses. Like instead of just 2 horses, like 4 or 6.
Yep.
Like big wagons.
Yeah, like the Budweiser carts. You see.
Yeah, exactly. So the person driving the wagon, because they would get on the left side of the rear left horse,
Okay.
because they could hold the reins with their right hand and work the brake with the left. Because if they were
Because
right-handed,
most people are righties.
so that
Yeah, this talks about England still, but not the
no.
United
But as
States.
it actually happened in the United States. As you are driving this gigantic wagon and you can't see the other side of it, the right side of it, very well,
Because you're on
suddenly
the left.
you want to pass with everything on your left. So you start to drive right.
Okay.
So you put the right side towards the ditch and the driver towards the center of the road.
That's how in America we started doing left-hand drive from the big wagons that they probably didn't have in England and smaller countries because they didn't have
It
as
also came
far
from
of a
France,
distance.
yeah.
Or as far well, France has got a lot more distance
Yep.
to cover than England does as well.
Yep.
And actually France still to this day drives on the left-hand side. So it comes down to the fact that it's still prevalent today. Like in America we have big cars, big trucks, big things.
Yep.
And back when it was horse and buggies in America we had big horses, big buggies, and big trains of things.
And then, of course, the other theory is that after the American Revolution, we wanted nothing to do with England. So we definitely...
How does England do this? Let's do everything the opposite.
Exactly. We do everything exactly the opposite. And I even learned that in 1792, Pennsylvania was the first to pass a keep right law on their turnpike. And then New York followed suit in,
what year?
1804. 1792.
They call it a turnpike?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Because there was pikes that you turned after your toll was paid.
You had to pay tolls in your horse and buggy?
Yes.
I'm learning a lot today.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Andrew.
And,
I'm still not clear exactly why we're on the right-hand drive still today.
well,
Because you would think once manufacturers started making cars, they would have been like, hey, we're going to sell these things all over the whole world. Let's standardize everything.
well, exactly. And only about 35% of the world's population drive on the left.
So
which is
we're in the
not a lot.
minority.
We're in the majority.
Majority.
We drive on the right.
See, it gets confusing because we drive on the left-hand side of the car, but on the right side of the road. So when you say we drive on the right, I'm like, no, we drive on the left. But no, we drive on the right-hand side of the road.
I should say right traffic, left traffic.
Okay, so we are right traffic.
We are right traffic. 35% of the population drives on left traffic.
Okay. Now, is that due to the fact that we are a huge country and we have more people here?
No.
Or is it just
It was
country
just it was
percentage,
just
not people percentage?
it was just tradition. That's how it started.
No, I mean, as far as the percentage goes, is that a people percentage or a country percentage?
That's countries. And
Oh, okay.
all population, I guess.
Okay, so that might have something to the fact that our population is huge versus the driving population in Guam.
No, they drive on the right hand side.
Oh, it's bad.
I'm sorry, on the left.
The right-hand side of
They
the
drive
road.
on the
Right
right-hand side of the road.
They're like us.
Yep.
Guam is like us, which is probably our fault because of the military base.
Well, they're a province.
Yeah.
So, it's no coincidence that almost all of these countries that drive on the right were former British colonies.
Okay.
So it comes down to imperialism and tradition,
And horses.
and the Bahamas being one of them. It was told to me by our taxi driver on the way back to the airport that was the only thing that they really kept after their independence in 1970.
Was driving on the other side of the road.
Yes.
Because it would have been an absolute nightmare if they're just like, all right, the day we change sides of the roads is Tuesday. It would have been massive traffic accidents
No,
everywhere.
some countries have done that.
Have they really?
Yes. Finland, I believe, did it.
That's so strange.
A couple of Scandinavian countries did it as late as the 60s.
I was going to say, what time of era was it? But
They told everybody for, months and weeks ahead of time, we're going to do it on this date.
I would hope so.
At this time. Yep.
You wake up Tuesday morning and you crash into your neighbor because you didn't get the memo.
Yeah, and they, speed limits were kept really low after it was changed.
Which would make sense, again, to keep fatalities down.
I wish I had.
Down.
I didn't keep track of what those countries were. I should have. I didn't think I was going to get there
that's
with
strange.
that.
I can't imagine just waking up one day and being like, all right, guys, President Trump issued a new order today. It's everybody drives on the left-hand side of the road. And I'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. But basically,
people like our friend Chris would be like, sweet, I got my Delica van. I'm good to go.
But basically, Britain stuck with driving on the left, and eventually it became so ingrained and far too expensive for them to change over. So that's why they're like it. They're just like that.
Now, this whole discussion we're having about left and right.
But continental Europe drives on the right, North, South America, most of Asia, Africa, and a lot of it came down to the driving habits of imperialism. So French colonies drove right, English colonies drove left.
That's so weird. Now, this whole topic is also motorcycles. Some motorcycles, particularly British motorcycles, are not standardized from pre-1965-ish.
Yeah.
And they'll be opposite of what anybody who rides a motorcycle today would know. So your clutch and brake will be on the right, and your clutch and shifter will be on the right, and your brakes will be on the left.
If there's one vehicle that standardized controls wouldn't matter anywhere, it's a motorcycle.
But they do matter.
Yes,
because if you go from a motorcycle that the clutch is on the left to a motorcycle that the clutch is on the right, the first time you get to an intersection, you're going to crash.
Yeah, I didn't say that right. So, if you standardized motorcycle controls,
it wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't matter where it was being driven.
So now, why did they get standardized? Just because people were going to crash them? Because, like I said, pre-65.
There was DOT laws in the United States, and if they wanted to import these bikes, they had to switch them over.
So England was like, all right, we spent enough money making our cars the opposite way for you bastards. We're not going to change our motorcycles. We're going to keep them all the same.
No, they changed them.
Right, but we're going to make ours the same. We're not going to keep our own traditions because we spend enough money changing cars.
So this really gets complicated with the invention of the automobile. And early brass era cars, early cars.
Yeah, there was no standardization at all.
And they were based on basically horse carriages with engines.
Center tillers.
That is center tiller, so it didn't matter what side you drove on.
Right, it was a big stick like a boat.
Exactly.
Front instead of the rear.
You could sit on either side of the car and just steer it, or in the middle.
Yeah.
And McLaren F1 is a pretty sweet car, but
that's an understatement of the year.
Its center steering position isn't really practical for everyday use.
Neither is anything about a McLaren F1, Andrew.
No. But, eventually automakers had to pick a side.
Yep.
And at first it made sense to have the driver enter from the curb, right? Because why not? If you're the early stages of inventing an automobile and you're going to go get into your car, you're going to step off the curb and just get into it.
Yep. Until you start thinking about families and passengers.
Exactly.
I'd rather have my daughter go out the curbside.
Well, yeah, especially in the front of a car.
Yep.
And then it was if you've got your best girl with you and she's wearing that giant dress.
That would be my wife.
You can't. She can't exactly get in from the curb and get around those giant steering wheels that those cars had.
That's true.
So they decided to move them. I mean, especially those cars had the ground clearance of your truck.
Yeah, you had to walk up into them.
Yeah. So they
and every girl wore a skirt or a dress then too. So they tried to make it as classy as possible for the lady to get to the car.
So I've read a couple places, that Packard was one of the first to start putting them on the left, but what really made it take off apparently was Model Ts are left-hand drive,
and because they were the every car,
and they were everywhere.
Yeah.
So
slight fun fact: as a child, completely not normal for most children who liked Ferraris and and Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
My favorite cars were all Packards. I don't know why.
Weird.
I had a Hot Wheels Packard, and that car kind of stuck with me. And as old cars go, I could recognize the center cap of the wheels because it had that like stop sign shaped red octagon in the middle of them. And that became my favorite car as a child. So anyway, so Packard was the first. Ford standardized it.
Basically,
Ford standardized a lot of things. So
he didn't standardize controls though.
that wasn't until 1955, wasn't it? Like
Nope.
pretty late.
Nope. The Model T had. Do you know how the pedals are set up on a Model T?
Isn't the brake on the right and the gas in the middle?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really weird. And
Why
if somebody
the-
didn't tell you that and you went to drive one,
Much like driving the opposite side motorcycle,
Yeah.
you're going to crash at the first stop sign.
because they don't have a clutch, it's like a high-low or something. It's way on the left.
Okay. But it's a freewheel, too, so when you stop, you have to push the freewheel in, right?
Oh, I don't remember now. It was my uncles had one, and like a few years ago, they like showed me how to do it, and it's been
It's a
so
lot of
long, I don't
work.
remember. Yeah, it's really hard
You
to.
advance the ignition while driving.
Yeah, there's no turn signals on the stock. It's the stock on the steering column. There's no turn signals there. It is to like advance spark.
Yep.
And control fuel. It's like
Change
really
the magneto.
Yeah, it's very crazy.
Turn signals weren't standard for a long time.
No, but it was the Cadillac Type 53.
I thought it was not 1953. The Cadillac Type 53.
Yeah,
is the first
1916.
standardized.
Standardized the placement of pedals,
Okay.
and then whether or not it had turn signals or not, I'm not sure. If it had the turn signals,
Probably not
stock.
at that point.
No,
A lot of cars still had semaphores and stuff.
and it
back
probably
then,
didn't have powered wipers. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't.
I don't know. Maybe it did.
So it wouldn't. But not a lot of cars had wiper stocks for a long time either.
It had a button on the dash.
Yeah. So as far as like standard controls,
Which is not even like, I'm thinking like my 1968 Camaro doesn't have a wiper stock. It's got a button on the dash.
yeah.
Or a
So
switch on the dash,
it really was about standardizing the pedals.
which is the most important part.
Because, yeah, whatever side of the car you're on, you can move the steering wheel over. The pedals are always in the same position.
Correct.
Gas is always on the far right.
Yeah.
Brake is in the middle.
So regardless
clutch
if
is
it's
on the
left or right-hand drive, the pedals
Yep,
always stay the
it's
same.
always the same. So that's pretty important.
Just where your shifter is different.
The other thing that I learned that was pretty interesting is that the turn signal location, like I said, was not standardized when they started putting turn signals in cars that were automatic and whatever on the steering column. The majority of, all American cars have it on the
Left side.
Yep,
By the door.
by the door. If you're in England, it is still on the left side of the steering wheel.
Yep.
But if you drove a Japanese car that's right-hand drive,
Correct.
it's on the right. It's towards the door.
Which I remember it being hard for me to get used to driving a Japanese right-hand drive car. Every time I go to turn,
Because it's like a mirror image, but
I
it's
turn the
not.
wipers on. Yeah.
So, and apparently that's very characteristic of JDM and Australian cars.
Which makes sense because they're so close to one another.
Yes.
They would use similar things.
But apparently, if you bought a car that was built in Japan for the English market, they would switch them.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
But it was but I guess,
So the parts existed, they just didn't do it.
yeah, I guess
That's
a lot of
weird.
modern Japanese imports, though, have gone away from it. They've standardized it and then they put it on the left.
Okay. That's a first for me. I didn't
So-
know any of that either.
But it's kind of weird like that, right?
It is very strange.
But I mean, my big thing was with 65% of the world being left-hand drive, it would make sense for a country just to standardize. So why car makers, especially Japanese car builders, would go through the trouble of engineering both left-hand and right-hand drive cars is like really weird to me.
That's a lot of money that you don't think would. I mean, I understand why they make both. It's just why not standardize the world as far as driving?
Because Japan was not an English colony.
Nope.
And in fact, it was basically rebuilt by the United States after World War II.
And before World War II, they were more in bed with Germany than anybody else.
So it's very strange that they
was
even
a
drive in the opposite
right-hand.
way.
Right hand of the road country.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Like early on, they could have easily, after World War II, just switched.
Because they didn't even make many cars yet by then.
No.
They had very, very, very.
And they were
very
still
few
like
cars.
developing after being destroyed. So just really weird.
Maybe they just chose based on countries around them.
Russia drives on the left.
Australia.
I'm sorry, Russia drives on the right.
Yeah, they drive like us.
It's everywhere. It's basically there's only like a few countries in Asia that don't
Is there anywhere in the world I don't know if you looked this up or not, where like if you cross into the border, like is there a border you can cross where you got to change sides? Other than like England and France, which isn't like there's a tunnel that does it for you.
Supposedly, it was between. In one article I read, it was between China and Pakistan somewhere.
Okay, does China drive on the right or the left?
China drives on the right.
So like us,
Yep.
not like Japan.
Nope. But I believe Hong Kong drove because it was an English colony.
On the left side of the road.
Yes.
So strange. It's so strange.
Yeah.
Now another place that I, as a lefty, get screwed.
You can cross from England.
Well, as I said, but
to France.
The tunnel does it for you when you drive through the tunnel. Like you come up the other side of the tunnel, and it's not like a stop. You get like change lanes. It's like it like flows. You don't notice it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you still have to stop and put the guards on your headlights because your headlights are
they
aimed
face
opposite.
the other direction.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know about that.
So there's little stickers you put on your headlights.
Just to kind of turn them.
And actually, you can't because the long way around is not on Netflix anymore. But if you looked closely at one of their Mitsubishi Sport vehicles that they had little stickers on the headlights because they were right-hand drive.
Interesting. The other place that, as a lefty, I get screwed is the shifter of the car.
Yeah. So I want to know: is it easier for you to drive with a standard in a right-hand drive car?
I don't know.
Lefty?
I'll let you know.
Oh, you haven't driven one?
I've never driven a right-hand drive standard car.
Oh, that's right, Chris. I thought Chris's
van was an automatic, yeah.
Oh.
And I drove that Mitsubishi Dangan.
Yeah.
But I never really got out of like first, second gear in the parking lot. I drove it, unfortunately. I didn't get a good day with it. A funny thing about that, though, is the way I learned the shift pattern was from the passenger seat of my father's ramp truck in the 80s.
Yeah.
So I shifted with my left hand. And I remember being like a young teen, like 13, 14 years old, and like starting to panic that I was getting my license, and I was never going to be able to drive a standard because I'm a lefty, and I had to shift with my right hand. But then once I learned to do it and did it, it's never been an issue. I can't imagine it would be difficult. I don't know. I've adapted pretty well, I guess.
Yeah, I never thought of it because
You're a righty.
I'm righty.
You're commoner.
That's right.
An independent thinker like a lefty.
Yeah.
Yet I've never driven a right-hand drive manual transmission car. I've driven a couple right-hand drive cars, and unfortunately, they've all been automatics. So I'd like to try that, obviously, and I hope someday when I have my Evo 1 or 2 or Lancer box type, I will not be buying an automatic of any of those vehicles.
Because the shift pattern is the same.
100%. Doesn't change at all.
No.
The pedals are standardized. The shift pattern is standardized. Unless you're driving a dogleg car. That changes a little bit.
It's not necessarily that the shift pattern is standardized. It's just that it'd be silly to build a reverse gearbox. Like,
it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Oh, when you think about it, it doesn't sound like much more work than building a whole right-hand drive car.
Yeah, putting a right-hand drive steering rack, a right-hand drive dashboard, like everything.
Everything changes. And you think about, like, we're talking about...
the wiper transmission, everything's backwards.
Well, I was talking to...
Or swapped.
Yeah. Our friend Al, who I'm going to pick up the Mark II Escort with.
Yeah.
So the Mark I Escort has a Mark II Escort, which
Yeah.
is left-hand drive.
This car's not?
No, they're both left-hand drive.
Okay.
But the Mark II Escort is left-hand drive, and the car wasn't designed originally to be left-hand drive. It was sold in Holland, which is they drive on the right in Holland.
Yeah.
The right side of the road and the left-hand side of the car.
Yeah, so stuff probably interferes with, like, the exhaust.
So when the car has, like, the carburetors and everything, the brake booster was inside the car. Because it was on make a left-hand drive, there was no room for the brake booster. So it went inside the car, under the dashboard, on the passenger side.
Weird.
Doesn't make any sense, but that's just the way it works.
Well, I mean, even now, because they're going away from it so much with world cars, but maybe because the building technology now is different where a lot of stuff is modular.
Well, yeah, that's like the, was it the Saturn or the Toyota that did it first? Where they had like that center stack that could just be turned left or right, depending which way the car was built.
I'm not sure, but when you look at your Raider and my Montero, it's clear that you could basically switch the dash.
Yeah, it's pretty standard right across. It's a flat panel with a couple different holes to be drilled depending on which way you went. But you're right, that's definitely set up for both ways.
Yeah.
But I know like the Yaris and like a Saturn Aura or whatever, they had that center stack.
Yeah.
And it would be very easy to use that same dashboard in both cars and just put a different stack in the center facing either the left or the right, depending on where you put the steering wheel.
Well, like we were talking about the your Galant that somebody had swapped.
Right, and it was a crap ton of work for whatever benefit or lack thereof that there was.
Yeah.
And that was so much stuff was changed that you couldn't even have heat or air conditioning.
No, and then like just I don't know, it's just very weird. Like why didn't because they standardized so many things. Like they came up with standard sizing like SAE, metric, like DOT stuff.
Do you know there's a third, and this is like another off topic, there's a third wrench size and screwdriver size?
Well, it's Japanese standard.
There's a Japanese standard.
Yeah, I need to get some Japanese standard screwdrivers.
Especially Phillips heads.
Yeah, because it explains why I rounded off so many screwdrivers.
Every single Mitsubishi part that has a Phillips head on it, I've had a hard time removing. And that's the reason that I have like Phillips head like drivers.
Yeah.
But if there's a whole other standard size screwdriver that I was unaware of until very recently, that makes me angry.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
No, I had no idea. I mean, I've been doing
I only
Japanese,
found out recently.
Yeah, exactly. I've been doing Japanese cars my entire driving career almost.
Yeah.
And I've been frustrated. We've made the joke many times that the interior bolts of Mitsubishis feel like they're made out of like, I don't know, like cheese, because you turn them with any screwdriver and you just strip the bolt out.
Yeah.
So apparently there's a whole other standard size that we didn't know about.
Yeah.
So I have to buy some of those too. Should probably invest in some of those soon, actually.
Yeah. But it's just weird to me that they didn't, like, a long time ago, somebody wasn't just like, we're going to make all cars drive on one side or the other.
But when you
because
think
it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
in the end, because the most important part about cars that are set up to drive on the right or cars that are set up to drive on the left is that you put the two drivers at the center of the road when they're opposite each other.
Right, so they can get a better angle of, or better
judgment of how close the two
yeah.
cars are. So if they're oncoming, they don't hit each other, hopefully.
Which driving a right-hand drive car in a left-hand drive world is a little unnerving at first for that reason. Because you're very nervous about the left front corner of your car all the time. You're very aware of it. You find yourself favoring the right side of the road a lot.
Yeah, so you end up driving close to like parked cars.
Yeah, a lot closer.
Which you really shouldn't. You should drive close to the line.
It's just hard to judge. Yeah. It's just hard to judge the line from the other side. I found myself setting the mirror up on the passenger side so that I could see the ground in the mirror, so that I could see where the line was in relation to the car as I was driving down the road. And that's what, especially on the highway where it's just like, long highway trip and there's not a lot of things to judge by. That's how I had the mirrors set up so I could see the side of the car and the line, so I knew where I was on the road.
You won't drive into the ditch.
No, you're very good at avoiding the ditch. And the other problem is parallel parking. It's really easy to get into the spot. It's really hard to pull out because you can't see shit.
Well, it's just like...
or making a left-hand turn across traffic.
Well, have you ever parallel parked on the left-hand side of a one-way street?
Oh, absolutely. It's not a problem at all because you can see getting out. There's only traffic going one way, so I don't worry about it as much.
Yeah.
And it's usually a smaller, less busy street.
Yeah.
But parking a right-hand drive car in a left-hand drive world and trying to pull out in a major thoroughfare from the side of the road is a little unnerving if the mirror's not set up right.
It's like for some reason it's easier to slide the car when you're taking a left-hand turn for some reason, I find.
You mean like a drift style slide?
Yeah.
See, I disagree. I have an easier time taking a right-hand turn sideways. It's just me, or maybe being a lefty or whatever, but I don't know. I don't. Maybe it's not even easier. Maybe it's the same either way. I just always like to be sideways.
Yeah.
It's the only reason I like it when it rains. Hey, sideways day.
Yeah.
Couple small things if we're done with this topic. I think we've pretty much worn it through.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's basically why right-hand and left-hand drive, or why right-hand traffic and left-hand traffic exist, because of imperialism.
Yep. Goddamn English.
Stubbornness to change.
More that than anything else, it seems like.
But it's been around a lot longer than cars. Which
is
I thought it started with cars, but nope, it went back further. So.
Interesting to learn. Slight change of pace tonight.
Yeah.
We don't usually do new car news, because we don't really care about new cars.
Well, what new car news do you have?
Alpine.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Was that a render or was that an actual
That's
car?
An actual car that is coming back out again. Like the Renault Alpine A310.
What is it based on?
I don't know anything about it, and I shouldn't say new car news. I just saw it and I got super excited because that's one of my favorite cars of all time. And there's a modern version of it now, apparently, that's in some kind of pre-production stage. I don't know who's building it. I don't know what it's powered by. I don't know where it's powered by, front or rear. But it looks amazing.
Hopefully it's rear.
And right now, it's all that matters. It looks amazing. So I really want one. I don't even care what.
I briefly looked at it. It did look pretty cool.
It could be an electric 12 horsepower golf cart. It just looks so good that I want one.
All right. So, I always do this towards the end because I'm getting tired.
Yes, dead air, not thinking. Social media time. What do you got?
You can follow us on Auto Off Topic at Auto Off Topic Podcast on Facebook, Auto Off Topic on Gmail, Auto Off Topic on I'm drifting, Auto Off Topic on Instagram.
Okay, yep. Auto Topic on Gmail, yeah. Auto Off Topic at gmail.com.
Yes.
Auto Off Topic on Instagram.
Yes, thank you.
Andrew's Raced in Anger on Instagram.
Thank you.
And Facebook. I am at Vintage Imports NE on Instagram, Vintage Imports of New England on Facebook, and obviously my personal one that will wake Andrew right back up as he laughs at the name of it again on Instagram is TSISS350. Look us up wherever you want to, or don't. Just listen to us. That would be excellent. Please like, rate, and review us on iTunes. Any extra little push we get from anywhere helps us a lot. Share us with any of your car-liking friends, or not car-liking friends, people that just like to listen to people randomly talk about history that doesn't matter to anybody but them.
All right. Good finish, Brad.
Hey, one more line. It's all yours.
Keep your cars analog.